Do we or do we not know what the heck Ozzy had in his burrito?
Let's try to answer this question in three, two, one.
Welcome to Rockers to Doctors, the podcast where spandex meets science and power chords meet peer review. I'm host Dorian Prescott.
And I'm Nova Starwick. This is where we go headbanging with a hypothesis.
If there's one thing you'll notice about today's episode, it's that the repercussions of Ozzy's death continue on like an echo, and fans and artists try to make sense of his absence.
In other words, today's episode highlights how Ozzy's work continues to inspire great music even as we speak, but also some awkward and sometimes funny circumstances.
Plus, we've got announcements about new albums, new tours, and new musical collaborations.
Whether you're itching to know just how bored Reb Beach has become, or if Cheap Trick qualifies as metal, then this is the episode for you. We begin with some very sad news today. Brent Hinds, former Mastodon singer and guitarist, has passed away. He died in a motorcycle crash late on Wednesday night in Atlanta. According to AP News, the driver of a BMW SUV did not yield properly into a turn and collided with Hinds. An autopsy showed that Hinds died of blunt force traumas.
Hinds was a co-founder of Mastodon in 2000. The band had two #1 albums on Billboard's Rock Albums chart. Blood Mountain was their first to break top 40 on Billboard's Top 200. They'd won a Grammy for Best Metal Performance in 2017 with the song Sultan's Curse from their album Emperor of Sand.
Hinds departed ways with Mastodon in March of 2025, and he was scheduled to tour in Europe in late 2025 with Friend Without a Face, his previous side project.
As you hopefully know, in July, Judas Priest released their own tribute cover of Black Sabbath's War Pigs. Perhaps you saw the performance video. It was a heartfelt homage to Black Sabbath and Ozzy. Oh, and it was insanely rocking. Priest sounds as great as ever. Now, it seems Judas Priest have concluded that their cover of War Pigs just wasn't metal enough. According to multiple recent reports, Judas Priest is planning to release a new version of War Pigs featuring both Rob Halford and Ozzy Osbourne trading vocals. Drummer Scott Travis mentioned in an interview stating, "I think there's a version coming out with Ozzy actually singing on that version. In other words, Rob will sing a verse and then Ozzy will sing a verse. I think that's coming out."
Anyway, for decades now, Sammy Hagar and David Lee Roth have been in a tit for tat. David Lee Roth recently poked fun at Sammy Hagar's claims that the ghost of Eddie Van Halen visited him and inspired him to write the song Thank You. The song appeared on the Encore Thank You Goodnight release this year and is credited to Hagar and guitarist Joe Satriani. Why isn't there a special mention for Eddie if he was the one that inspired it? During a concert at the Hampton Casino in Hampton, New Hampshire, Roth addressed Hagar's story with a humorous reply, saying, "The ghost of Eddie Van Halen visited me in the effing hotel room. He was laughing. He said, 'Dave, you know that song I gave Hagar?' I said, 'What now?' He said, 'It's actually Inagata Devita backwards. Don't effing tell him.'"
Vegas rumors, BBC drama, and a drummer who once led Blood Pollution. On August 18th, during an appearance on Sirius XM's Trunk Nation with Eddie Trunk, Whitesnake guitarist Reb Beach shared his hopes for a few final shows. He revealed that David Coverdale once told him to keep some equipment at the house just in case we do a residency in Vegas. And that equipment has remained there for about 3 years, still waiting for the call. The rest of the band is ready to go if Coverdale calls it a farewell run. Coverdale has been as busy as a QVC salesman with another round of archival reissues. At this point, I imagine we're about to get the 17th remaster of Here I Go Again, but this time with bonus liner notes about the bonus liner notes from the last time. Beach noted that Coverdale keeps repackaging the stuff. It's still happening. Reflecting on the canceled 2022 farewell tour, Beach recalled that Coverdale pulled the plug just 2 weeks before the Scorpions tour, citing exhaustion, and then sold his publishing rights for about $50 million. Ka-ching.
In a rather bizarre move, the posthumous Prince of Darkness was left in the dark when the BBC pulled the plug on their 1-hour documentary titled Ozzy Osbourne Coming Home from its schedule right before the premiere on August 18th on BBC One and iPlayer. Initially, there was no immediate explanation. The project was conceived as a 10-part series named Home to Roost, but it was re-edited into a single feature following Ozzy's deteriorating health and subsequent passing. Someone at BBC thought, F it. Let's just speedrun Ozzy's entire life in 1 hour. The result allegedly felt rushed. The BBC has since confirmed that the delay was made at the request of the Osbourne family as a sign of respect during their mourning period. The family felt the documentary's tone may have been rushed, possibly to preempt a competing Paramount Plus production, leading to dissatisfaction with the final cut.
This was a historic week. In a rare, world shifting event that only occurs once a year, we have reports that August 18th was Blas Elias's 58th birthday. We've been trying to keep tabs on the elusive musician since our childhood, and although he's been a bit quiet lately, you might have found him sharing the stage this summer with Steve Piercy's Rat, which featured Warren DeMartini, Matt Thorne, and Carlos Cavazo. For those of you who haven't seen the light is Blas Elias, the OG and current drummer for Slaughter. He tours with the Trans Siberian Orchestra, though I suppose when they play America, they'll be called a Siberian Orchestra. But as every diehard Blas Elias fan knows, there's one more band he's played in, a band that Slaughter couldn't hold a match to, a band that the Trans Siberian Orchestra sounds lazy and slow compared to, a band that was easily better than Van Halen. Blood Pollution. These guys transcend all the stigmas and cliches associated with being in a Steel Dragon cover band. We'll keep you obsessively updated on all his activities, and if there's any hope, any sign from heaven or hell that is possible, we'll hopefully report a Blood Pollution reunion.
Sometimes the world of rock gives us headlines so strange you couldn't make them up. Let's dive into burritos, birthday tributes, and a band that refuses to watch up. Are you one of the many folks who are wondering if that Ozzy burrito order is legit? A Loudwire staff member, Rob Carroll, went to Chipotle and ordered his own burrito, consisting of white rice, pinto beans, barbacoa, medium salsa, sour cream, and cheese, and typed Ozzy into the ordering system. When Chipotle gave him his receipt, the name Ozzy was printed at the bottom. His coworkers thought it was hilarious, and Rob posted it on the internet. And that's when the internet went crazy. Everyone was misreading Rob's entire situation. They became convinced that they'd uncovered not only Ozzy Osbourne's real burrito order, but what Ozzy's secret burrito preferences were. As a result, many fans started ordering and posting videos of that exact combination, believing it was Ozzy's favorite. After all, Ozzy did declare Chipotle his favorite burrito joint during a 2003 episode of The Osbournes. In response, Chipotle awarded him their first ever celebrity card. After his passing in July, over 7,000 fans signed a Change.org petition started by Loudwire, urging Chipotle to create a signature burrito in his honor, dubbed the Ozzy. As for Ozzy's ideal burrito order, no one knows. It remains as mysterious as the lyrics to the song D. Now, in honor of this, I actually went and got a burrito today from Freebirds, which is where you have to go when you're in Texas. And I'm going to share my order, which I named the Supernova. So my burrito was actually a half bird. I got a low-carb tortilla, cilantro rice, black beans, pork, peppers and onions, cheese, guacamole, pico de gallo, lettuce, habanero sauce, and sour cream, and it was delicious. Now, Dorian, I believe that you were also going to have a burrito today in honor of this story, so why don't you tell us about yours?
Yeah, so I went up the street. I'm not even sure where I got this burrito. It's at a store somewhere in Cincinnati. And I said, "Do you have an Aussie burrito?" And they had no idea what I was talking about. But now that we have the fake Aussie burrito ingredients, I figure we might as well look to see if I at least have a fake Aussie burrito here. So we need some white rice, pinto beans,
Barbacoa? You're looking for
barbacoa. That's the
yeah.
word. I don't even know what barbacoa is. So if you see
It's
any of it in here, you feel free to let us know. You can email
it,
us
yeah.
or
It, it
yeah.
it it would look like meat.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Barbacoa
That's
is
probably
meat.
that part there.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Unless it's like tofu. Is it tofu meat?
I can't really tell. I just asked them to make an Ozzy burrito, and they looked at me strange, and this is what I got.
Yeah, I don't think that's quite right, but
There could be bat meat in here.
yeah, there could be. You put that away and let's get a cleanup on aisle 5.
Yeah. In the world of live music, on August 16th, 2025, during a show in North Tonawanda, New York, 80s rockers Firehouse and Trixter honored Ozzy by performing a cover of his classic song Crazy Train. This was the first time Firehouse had played Crazy Train live. Want to see it? Check out the link at rockerstodoctors.com. Which reminds me, if you get a chance to see Trixter, please do so. In fact, and this one goes out to all my Ohio friends, Trixter will be playing at Tuckin' Reds in Yellow Spring on Friday, September 26th. They'll be playing with the local legend and guitar god Charlie Bonnet Three's band, the Gas Holes. And if you live where Nova and I grew up, that's in the New York suburbs, be sure to see Trixter when they play locally. They're from Paramus, New Jersey, home of the Paramus Park Mall. In 1988, I was walking through the mall with my father. They were playing some music on the PA system, and I remember what songs were on. It was Honestly by Stryper and The Flame by Cheap Trick. I think I also heard Your Mama Don't Dance by Poison, but I'm not sure.
Speaking of Cheap Trick, on Friday, they announced a new album called All Washed Up, which, let's be honest, is the boldest case of attempted reverse psychology I've seen in a very long time. The title screams retirement home rock, but the band insists they can still rock as hard as any of the AI generated rock bands on your Spotify playlist. They've released their first single, 12 Gates, and fans are calling it upbeat power pop. Translation, it sounds exactly like the last 20 Cheap Trick songs, but there's nothing wrong with that. Fans want to hear a version of Cheap Trick that's impervious to time. What to expect? Some fans will admonish it, others will think, maybe I do need a 14th Cheap Trick Greatest Hits compilation. During the recording process, they split their time between Nashville and LA, and my guess is they choose locations based on who happened to have the best catering that day or the closest burrito shop. Valid. So let us know, is Cheap Trick washed up or rinsed up and ready for another cycle?
I wrote that last section. Someone is going to comment that Cheap Trick isn't metal. I mean, were anyone to ask, is Cheap Trick a heavy metal band? The reply should always be an instantaneous no. But we're including them here because Robin Zander has some really cool looking guitars. They're the kind that Randy Rhoads in the late 1970s and early 80s really would have appreciated. What do you all think? Is there even a molecule of redemptive power of metal in Cheap Trick's music? Let us know.
Next up, what do Lita Ford, Stryper, Megadeth, and Sammy Hagar all have in common? They're reminding us why metal's past is still very much alive in the present.
You know who I really, really, really appreciated in the 80s? Lita Ford. I was 13 when I first heard her. I was like, dude, she just said the word laid. Lita Ford is awesome. And then she did a duet with Ozzy. Well, in a new interview on the Surviving Rocklahoma podcast, Lita Ford revealed that her album has finally cleared significant label related hurdles. She expressed optimism. We should have the record out hopefully by the beginning of 2026. I hope sooner, because it's pretty much ready to go. The album is a dark fairy tale concept record, centered around layered characters and thematic motifs. I don't know what that means. There are numerous collaborators involved, one of whom happens to be Doro Pesch.
On August 23rd, Stryper will celebrate the 40th anniversary of their historic album, Soldiers Under Command, live at Spirit House on CD. Recorded in June 2021, it remains the only time Stryper performed the album in full. This limited edition CD will only be sold at Stryper.com. And they'll be opening up for Ghost on the remainder of Ghost Tour. Just kidding. Ghost is opening for them.
No, they're not. I heard Blood Pollution would be opening for Ghost. But anyway, last week, we reported that Megadeth announced the release of a final album coupled with a final tour coming in 2026. Bassist David Ellefson, on his podcast, The David Ellefson Show, offered his thoughts, mixing nostalgia and humble acceptance. David confessed that being overlooked for inclusion in the farewell tour is probably not something I'm super happy about, but he was grateful for all his years in Megadeth. David added, would I like to be part of it? Yeah, of course. Who wouldn't? I'm a founding member of it. According to Loudwire, David remains musically active. His latest project is the group Ellefson Soto, and their album Unbreakable was released in August 2025.
Sammy Hagar has officially announced a live album titled Sammy Hagar and the Best of All Worlds Band, The Residency, which was captured during his 2025 Las Vegas residency. The release date will be October 10th, and the lineup is monstrous. In addition to Sammy Hagar, we've got Van Halen bassist Michael Anthony, Kenny Aronoff on drums, Rhea Thistlethwaite on keys, the great Joe Satriani on guitar, and disputably the ghost of Eddie Van Halen himself. Summer Nights Live is already available on streaming platforms.
3 debuts, 3 different ways to terrify parents. Venom, W.A.S.P, and Cannibal Corpse all marked this week in metal history. This week in metal history was Venom's debut album, 1981's Welcome to Hell. This is widely considered one of the most influential and genre-defining works of extreme metal. Many consider Venom the first thrash metal band.
This week in 1984, W.A.S.P released their self-titled debut and the anthem, I Want to Be Somebody, which was their first release off the album.
And it was right about now in 1990 when Cannibal Corpse exploded onto the scene with Eaten Back to Life. I was only 14 then, and Cannibal Corpse was brand new, but everybody knew who they were right from the outset because they had such a vulgar reputation. Buying that album at 14, it made us feel dangerous.
Full links are in the show notes.
Find us on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and leave us a review to let us know if we're hitting the right notes or if we're off key.
Stay loud, stay curious.
Headbanging with a hypothesis.